Taylor Guitars was founded in 1974 by Bob Taylor and Kurt Listug, and over time has grown from a small guitar shop into a world-class manufacturer of premium acoustic guitars. Headquartered in El Cajon, California, Taylor employs close to 1,500 people and crafts guitars in its state-of-the-art factory complexes in El Cajon and Tecate, Baja California, Mexico. The company also owns and operates a European distribution and service center in the Netherlands and co-owns an ebony mill called Krielekam, located in Cameroon. As a guitar company, Taylor is widely recognized as an industry innovator for its pioneering development of modern manufacturing techniques, bringing incredible precision and consistency to the guitar-making process and redefining craftsmanship in the modern era. Driven by a passion for guitar innovation, Taylor continues to set new standards of playing comfort and sound quality. As a result, Taylor is one of the world's best-selling acoustic guitar brands. But it wasn't always that way.
I made my first guitar when I was 16 or 17 years old, and I made my first guitar just because I wanted a guitar. Didn't have money to buy one. I thought, hey, I'm in wood shop, I'll make a guitar.
Well, I was going to college, didn't know what I wanted to do, and a friend of mine from high school got a job working on guitars at this place called the American Dream. And so I thought, wow, that sounds really cool.
I found the American Dream music out in Lemon Grove.
Right after I started American Dream is when I met Bob. Bob came in, maybe within a week of me.
So after high school, I talked my way into the doors and got a workbench.
And he'd just get work done really quickly. That's what I remember about him. Everyone thought he was pretty talented.
But after about a year of both of us working there, Sam Radding decided to sell the business.
My friend Steve and I, we started putting together a plan to buy the shop. And I approached my dad to see if he'd loan me the money. And he said, well, do you know how to make guitars? I said, well, no, not really. He said, well, okay, who does? Who's a good guitar maker? I said, well, Bob Taylor, he's a good guitar maker. He said, well, okay, if you could get Bob to be your partner, then your mother and I would consider loaning you the money. So then Steve and I approached Bob and said, hey, we want you to be our partner.
At the time, Bob was 19 and Kurt was 21. Things didn't exactly get off to the most promising start.
We had a big flood that came into the shop. It was just a disaster.
Well, the place was built, there wasn't good drainage. Then that first full day, the day after we bought it from Sam, it was raining, it was October, and we came in and the place was flooded.
It was all a disaster, but we loved it.
On top of that, Bob, Kurt, and Steve weren't allowed to retain the name of the business or its phone number. And in only a few short months' time, the company was out of money.
We bought it on October 15th, 74, and by December we were out of money. I always want to do things the legal way, the right way, so I actually hired everybody that was self-employed. So very quickly we paid everyone, for 40 hours a week, overtime.
We started with an investment of about $10,000, and we went through that really quickly.
Because the three founders didn't have the rights to the American Dream name, they needed a new name to put on the peghead of their guitars. And Taylor seemed like the best fit.
Bob's a guitar maker. Right away, it seemed natural, Taylor. It's an American name. Sounds like an American guitar. But also, that early decision was the first of many decisions like that where you each have to find your role.
The early years were a struggle for the business. Among other challenges, the music landscape was changing. Singer-songwriters and acoustic guitars were displaced by disco, followed by 80s new wave and the MTV era, including hair metal. Acoustic guitars weren't popular, and the whole acoustic guitar industry suffered. Taylor Guitars struggled to stay afloat through any means necessary, including taking on instrument repair work or cutting wood for local woodworkers. Kurt routinely loaded up his Volvo to drive across the country, selling guitars to dealers, racking up tens of thousands of miles, while Bob stayed in the shop to build more guitars. Bob and Kurt survived with the help of family and friends, but went without a paycheck for quite a while.
It was 8 years before we paid ourselves anything, so the first 10 years were pretty rough, but we loved it.
There were glimmers of hope during this time. Neil Young played a Taylor 855, one of Bob's first 12-string jumbo guitars, on his Rust Never Sleeps tour, and it was featured prominently in the 1979 concert film made to chronicle that tour.
I'd heard that Neil Young not only bought one of our guitars, but that he was using it on stage. And of course, you hope that that'll make a difference. And I'm sure that it made a difference. But the next day, I went back to work and I had a guitar that I couldn't quite deliver. I had an order for it, or I had a guitar that was done and no order for it. Those two never seemed to match. But I will tell you that every time we heard or saw somebody who was a well-respected player using our guitars, it really fueled us, especially in those days when there was no paycheck. You know, we needed something to feel good.
I mean, that's a shot on the arm. It's a little success, and it keeps you going.
After some recurring business differences with third partner Steve Schemmer, Bob and Kurt decided to buy him out. They were now ready to build the company on their own terms. By 1984, after 10 years of business, Taylor had doubled in size and was gaining traction. With Bob and Kurt now in a true 50-50 partnership, business was looking up. Word of Taylor guitars continued to spread, and the company was commissioned to make a purple 12-string guitar for Prince, which would end up being used in his music video for Raspberry Beret. Jeff Cook of the band Alabama, a top country act of the day, took note of the guitar builder and commissioned a green Taylor guitar. With more big names in music taking note and sales improving, Bob and Kurt set their sights on expansion to a new shop located just 10 minutes up the road in Santee, California. Along with this, they saw the impact that new technologies and machinery could have in the factory without losing any employees, and decided to make the investments necessary to increase production and business. One pivotal moment around this time was Taylor's purchase of its first computer numeric-controlled milling machine, also known as a CNC mill. Bob had learned about these machines from electric guitar maker Tom Anderson, the first person to use them to make electric guitars. Bob would be the first person in the acoustic guitar industry to use them, starting in 1990. Computer-controlled milling brought unprecedented precision and consistency to the guitar-making process, and would later enable other important innovations, such as Taylor's patented neck design, originally called the New Technology, or NT, neck. The design brought more stability and accuracy to the neck setup, enabling micro-adjustability over the lifetime of the guitar in order to ensure optimal performance. Its introduction marked the first major design advancement to the acoustic guitar in a century.
It was important in that it allowed us to make a perfectly straight neck that was at the perfect angle to the guitar body each and every time. I believe when we started the NT neck, we were at somewhere around 70 guitars every day. So the company had grown a lot.
Along with CNC machinery, Taylor's continuing investment in tooling and engineering led to a variety of non-traditional machinery to improve the guitar-making process. This included laser technologies to assist in the cutting of guitar tops, backs, sides, and other components. Other technological innovations included UV curable finish and later robotic buffing and finish spraying. Soon the company moved its factory to an even larger space in El Cajon, California. In 1994, Taylor celebrated its 20th anniversary with the release of a new body style, the Grand Auditorium, which became enormously popular and helped fuel company growth. In the late 1990s, Taylor opened a second factory just 40 minutes away in Tecate, Mexico, initially to assist in the production of its guitar cases, followed by the Baby Taylor and other guitar models. At the end of 1999, the company was on track to produce 38,000 guitars that year, a far cry from its early days. The year 2000 saw the company turn its attention to acoustic amplification. In 2003, Taylor introduced the Expression System, the first acoustic guitar pickup of its kind. Designed with guidance from Sir Rupert Neve, a pioneer in professional audio recording, the magnetic expression system amplified the sound of an acoustic guitar in a natural way to produce a more musical, amplified voice. The pickup system has continued to evolve into what it is today. Many top artists make Taylor their guitar of choice, including Zac Brown, Jason Mraz, Iron and Wine, Ben Harper, Tori Kelly, Lana, Shawn Mendes, along with some of music's best studio and stage guitarists. Taylor is also active in fostering the next generation of musicians and guitar builders in the community. As part of the San Diego Music Foundation, Taylor has placed thousands of guitars in the San Diego community, benefiting over 55,000 students. The company is also active in national organizations like Little Kids Rock, Guitars for Vets, and many others. Along with its commitment to music education, Taylor sponsors woodshop classes in high schools across the country, providing materials, teacher training, and instruction to students to nurture the next generation of craftspeople. Taylor currently sells guitars through an active dealer network that includes hundreds of retail locations in North America, along with international distribution to 60 countries. Around the world, Taylor presents a variety of in-store events and exhibits at festivals and trade shows, all in an effort to connect with retailers and the public. With years of sweat equity behind them, Bob and Kurt have dedicated themselves to planning for the future and continuing the company's heritage of guitar-making innovation in the decades ahead. Through a series of events, Bob was introduced to a talented local guitar maker named Andy Powers. It wasn't until a few months later that the light bulb went off.
After about 35 years of doing business and seeing 40 and 45 years approaching, and knowing that at some point in time I won't even be here, I began thinking that I needed somebody to really take the guitar building aspect to the next level beyond what I could do. I really made a list of a lot of impossible things for this person to be, like 20 years of experience and less than 30 years old. Incredible guitar builder, incredible guitar player from San Diego, knows the history of guitars. All these things I wrote down, and one day I met Andy and was able to just put a check by every one of these things that I'd hoped for. He made a commitment to Taylor, and he literally is the best guitar builder I've ever met in my life. Far better guitar builder than I am, and I believe that Andy will be a powerful force and probably the greatest influence in the guitar industry in his career.
Andy Powers joined the company in 2011 and immediately made an impact, applying his guitar design expertise to create our grand orchestra body style and bring many other tone-enhancing refinements to the Taylor guitar line. As Taylor's master guitar designer, he developed player-friendly 12-fret grand concert designs, including our small-body 12 strings, along with the Academy series, the GS Mini Bass, our patented V-Class bracing architecture, our Grand Pacific body style, the Builder's Edition collection, along with many other groundbreaking designs. With each new design, Andy has given the world another compelling reason to play a Taylor guitar and expanded the expressive range of our instruments in playability and sound. In recognition of his important role as Taylor's next-generation guitar architect, Bob and Kurt invited Andy to become a third ownership partner in 2019, setting Taylor up for a bright future as a guitar innovator. With Andy at the helm of the guitar design process, Bob was free to turn his attention to forest stewardship initiatives and the pursuit of sustainable practices, including planting trees for the future. One important area of focus has been transforming the ebony trade in Cameroon, where Taylor co-owns and operates the Cam Ebony Mill. Taylor's improvements to the sourcing and milling processes have brought enrichment to the local community, ensuring that ebony is legally and ethically sourced and processed. Taylor has also encouraged a change in ebony sourcing practices for the entire musical instrument industry, encouraging other guitar makers to reduce waste by using ebony wood that contains color or variegation, which had traditionally been rejected. For Taylor's efforts with ebony in Cameroon, the company was honored by the United States Department of State with the prestigious 2014 Award for Corporate Excellence. Taylor has also funded groundbreaking ebony research and planting initiatives in Cameroon. As the co-owner of a Hawaiian company called Siglo Tonewoods, Taylor is also actively involved with native forest restoration in Hawaii, including the future planting and cultivation of koa trees that eventually will be able to supply wood to Taylor and other makers of musical instruments.
I haven't actually achieved the project of growing wood, but we're getting closer and closer all the time. So my work in Cameroon and now in Hawaii really keep me incredibly motivated. How we use wood in the forest, how we treat the people who live in those communities, how we take care of the forest, and how we grow wood for that day when I'm gone and Andy's on his own. Where's the wood going to come from?
Yet, even with the success that the company has experienced, Bob, Kurt, and now Andy are excited about the prospect of building a better future.
We want the company to keep going into the future. How do we continue growing? How do we provide meaningful work for people? How do we provide an honest, ethical work environment where people are treated fairly? And that's actually sort of what drives me even to this day, is how can we achieve more success for the company?
One of the biggest questions that Kurt, Bob, and Andy faced as they looked to preserve the future success of the company was who should succeed them as owners. Who would be best equipped to lead the company forward and preserve Taylor's values and culture of innovation? The answer came in January of 2021 when the three of them announced that they had transferred 100% ownership of the company to Taylor employees through an employee stock ownership plan, also known as an ESOP. The ownership transition gave each of Taylor's employees a more direct stake in the company's future success. That announcement was followed in May of 2022 with the news that Andy Powers would assume an expanded leadership role as the company's president and CEO, while continuing as chief guitar designer, with Bob and Kurt shifting to roles as senior advisors and co-chairman of the Taylor Guitars board. At a company gathering soon after the announcement, Andy spoke to Taylor's employee owners about their shared commitment to making great guitars for years to come.
We want to have a purpose, and that purpose is to build great guitars and put them into the hands of musicians. Now, alongside with that, we want to build a great company. And that was something that felt particularly new and special when Bob and Kurt and I partnered together all those years ago. Well, I've spent my whole life pursuing how to build a great instrument. And so have they, but they've also taken this step to go, how can we build a great company with these guitars and provide not just for the musicians and for audiences and for our dealers and suppliers, but how can we provide for our employees? How can we provide for this community that we call now Taylor Guitars? And as the guitar builder and now president and CEO, it's a great thrill and an honor to continue carrying that torch into our future generations with the guitar as our purpose and our passion and as the means to do good business while we do good.
People often ask me, what I would like to be known for, what's the legacy? And if I were to sum it up in one sentence, I would be pleased if people said, he left guitars in better shape than he found guitars. And that's what I'm hoping to achieve.
I don't know that Kurt and I have ever been more proud of what Taylor Guitars has become.